What is up, guys? Today we're going to be doing a mock draft for the 2021 NFL Draft, which is coming up in just a couple of weeks. Now, this is my first video in a long time, and I'm really excited to get back on it. I'm going to be using the draftnetwork.com. That is basically my favorite website to do these NFL drafts, just because it's super easy to use. I'm not sponsored by them, but I'm just saying if you guys are interested in doing one, just like what I'm doing in this video, you guys should definitely go to the draftnetwork.com. I'll leave a link in the description so you guys can go check it out. Now, the first thing I want to say is that I'm going to be drafting what I think is going to happen, not who I think is the best. So I might think, I don't know, for example, if I say Jalen Waddle is better than Devontae Smith, I didn't think about that at all. But that's maybe my opinion, but maybe that's not what I think is going to happen, which is going to happen multiple times in this video. Also, I'm going to be doing no trades just because it gets too messy, and there's really no locks for trades. Now, I know some trades have already happened, but I mean, while they're on the clock, calling up, I don't know, the Dolphins and saying, "Hey, can we trade you our for fourth overall pick?" Like that's not what I'm going to do, just because that's really hard to predict. I don't think that's just luck if I predict that. There's really no analysis that's based on that. So I'm going to be doing it for all teams only in the first round, and let's get started. So we're going to be doing the predictive board, one round, normal, manual. So those are the settings I'm using in case you guys want to do one. So here we go. Have our first overall pick. Really haven't seen much debate about this one. I can say pretty confidently that it's going to be Trevor Lawrence. If you disagree, I'm pretty shocked. But if you do, just let me know in the comments because I want to see who you guys think could possibly go over him. Maybe Justin Fields, but I don't see that happening at all. It's definitely going to be Trevor Lawrence. He's going to be the first overall pick. Now, the second one belongs to the New York Jets. Now, this is one that it's kind of weird because when you look at it, Zach Wilson, I think is the best quarterback here. But Justin Fields' draft stock was shot up during his pro day. He was a fast quarterback, he was accurate, and he was something that really is a hot commodity in the NFL, which is a durable running quarterback. So I think that he is going to be one of those top picks. But I do think Zach Wilson is better, and I do think that in this case, Zach Wilson will go second overall to the Jets. I think he's going to be the best quarterback in this class. Honestly, he is a talented quarterback, and definitely if they give him some weapons in New York, he's definitely going to struggle at first, just like Sam Darnold did. No matter how talented you are, you're going to have a tough time with no receivers, no offensive line, and no running game. That's a tough place to be in. I think that he's definitely going to struggle at first simply because that's not a good environment to be in, especially when the coaching is very poor. So I don't think that's going to be a great environment for him. But maybe once they start to rebuild or he goes elsewhere, he's going to be a super talented guy. He's going to find success in the NFL. So he's going to go second overall. Our next pick is the Niners. Now, I know that a lot of people have been saying the Niners might pick up Mac Jones. Mac Jones looked pathetic on his pro day, and that's basically what we have of him. He has looked good because he had the best receiving core in college football. He had an incredible offensive line, and basically he had the best running game in the league in Najee Harris. Now, this has been that was a pretty easy season, and I think that if you put any of those quarterbacks in there in this class, they would have basically brought up similar results. But I think in this situation, we're going to see Justin Fields go to them. He is definitely the best quarterback on the board right now. I know Trey Lance have been a lot of people have been saying Trey Lance might go higher. I don't think he's that as good as Justin Fields for sure. An Ohio State quarterback. I know Ohio State's quarterbacks usually struggle in the NFL. Just looking at the last couple with Haskins and I mean, I guess Joe Burrow, but he didn't really have the success in Ohio State. I'm going to say that they're going to take Justin Fields, and he is going to go to the Niners. Now, our next pick is the Falcons, which I've said this multiple times to some friends that I was talking to about the draft. It's not Matt Ryan. Their lack of success in the last few years has not been Matt Ryan's fault. Their defense has not been good. They're in a very tough division with the Saints and the Bucks now, and they really just they don't have much for Matt Ryan to work with. Their running game is not strong. Their receiving core is kind of average. I mean, you do have Calvin Ridley. Julio Jones is usually hurt now. Calvin Ridley did have a very nice season, but really he's the one guy. Besides that, they're not a good receiving core team. Now he has really had a tough time there. But he is not just by based off their record, but really when you look at all the factors that he has to face, that is not totally his fault. There's a lot of things that definitely are not his fault that he is put in that environment. So he's really not the problem. So then when you look on this team needs right here, tight end, that is something that I feel that they could really use because they did have Austin Hooper. Unfortunately, they let him go and he went to the Packers. So I think they're definitely going to be looking for another dominant tight end like Hooper. And I think they're going to take Kyle Pitts. He's an excellent prospect. He's tall, he's athletic, he's fast. He's definitely the guy they're looking for in a tight end that's durable and can catch passes from Matt Ryan. They're definitely going to take Kyle Pitts. That's my pick at number 4 overall. He's the best tight end I think I've seen in a few years in a draft. Our next one, the Cincinnati Bengals. This is another one I'm very interested in. I think they're going to give Joe Burrow some weapons as well as an offensive line in this draft. But with their first overall, like there's a lot of offensive tackles in this draft that are good. You have a handful of just Rashawn Slater, he's good. Sewell, he's amazing. There's a couple of guys that I am just like really confident in this class. But I think that the best choice for them is going to be taking a receiver in the first round, which basically leaves us with 3 options. Do they take Jamar Chase? Do they take Devontae Smith, or do they take Jalen Waddle? They are basically the undisputed top 3 receivers right now. So when you look down here, they are. I mean, you have the 2 guys from Alabama, and then you have Jamar Chase from LSU. Now, this is a tough decision, and Jamar Chase did shine even with Justin Jefferson on his receiving core 2 years ago. But I think the best player in this class is going to be Jalen Waddle. That's not a popular pick, but I think the best receiver in this class is Jalen Waddle for sure. Now, I know you guys are going to kill me in the comment section for that one, but that is just something that I feel pretty confident that he's going to be very good, but I just don't think that he's going to get picked ahead of him. I think it's going to be Devontae Smith, and just listen why. He is a fast guy. Although he can't take much contact, he's too light. Really, I've heard a lot of people saying he's going to get hurt. He's too weak. He's too frail. Like, we've seen players exactly like that don't get hurt. Tyreek Hill is not like a super muscular looking dude when you look at him. Like he's not. I mean, I know that he is heavier and more stocky than Devontae Smith, but like you don't have to be like a freak of nature muscular athlete to be in the NFL. Like you don't have to be. That's not all it is. It's strength. Now I understand strength would definitely help him, but like you think of the best receiver in the league, they're not the strongest receivers in the league. DeAndre Hopkins honestly doesn't look as cut as some of those other guys that are not as successful as him. There's definitely reasons why he should get stronger. That would help him a lot and that would benefit him. He definitely should weigh more than 170, but I think that that's not going to affect him that much. I think he will still find success. I think they're going to pick Devontae Smith at the numbers 5 overall pick. So they're going to take him. Not what I would do, but obviously I am not picking for the Cincinnati Bengals. Our next one is the Miami Dolphins. Obviously, the Dolphins need a receiving threat. I think that this is going to be Jamar Chase for them. I just think that Jamar Chase is not as good as Jalen Waddle simply because Jalen Waddle, I think, is all around a better receiver. Jamar Chase is pretty quick, but I think Jalen Waddle is like bigger, stronger. Although he might not be as fast, he's still definitely a better prospect. I still think that's the case, but definitely Jamar Chase is going to be going number 6 overall, the Dolphins. Number 7, this is where our boy Jalen Waddle is going to go because they need a receiver bad, especially after losing Kenny Golladay. That's going to hurt them so much. And with a brand new quarterback, they're going to need to give him a receiver. Jared Goff has to have a weapon. He didn't have like that dominant number 1 receiver on any team weapon in like the Rams, but he still had a pretty good receiving core. So I think they're definitely going to be picking him up a nice receiver in Jalen Waddle. Next, we have the Carolina Panthers. Now, I have any team that we play divisionally as a Bucks fan. Like, I'm wearing Bucks stuff right now. Like, I see them twice a year just during the regular season. That's not including preseason and playoffs. I know a lot of their tendencies. I know a lot of their needs, and I watch a lot of their games outside of games where they play the Bucks. Now, this is one where I think really Teddy Bridgewater was not good. I think we can all agree on that. But he had no offensive line. None. So I think they're definitely going to go with an offensive lineman here. Now they don't have Bridgewater. They have Darnold, which we saw earlier this week. But I think that offensive lineman would work wonders for them. So they are definitely going to pick up an offensive lineman. But do we take the Northwestern Rashawn Slater, or do they take Sewell? So I think that definitely Slater is better. I think they're going to take Sewell, though. But I think that Slater, I mean, I have not been like too invested in looking at the offensive lineman pro days or like film or stuff. I have watched film for most of the players, but offensive linemen, I just really haven't at all looked at any of their highlights or anything. But I've heard that Sewell is probably going to go here. I think that it's going to be Slater just because of the little research that I've done about offensive linemen in this class. I've just seen Slater to be a better player at Northwestern, but Oregon does make good offensive linemen. We saw one a couple years ago in the 2018 draft. We're going to take Sewell in this one. So our next pick, so this is the Denver Broncos. I don't know if you guys remember, but last summer I made a video saying that Drew Lock was going to be an MVP candidate with his incredible receiving core with Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy. Well, that did not happen. So, so I think they're going to take a quarterback and replace him. So that's basically a debate between Mac Jones and Trey Lance. Now, this is something that I think is just going to be like we're not going to know who's that much better until they actually play. I feel like their stats are very, very similar. If you kind of like take into account that one played at Alabama and had the receiving core of his life, and then the other one played at North Dakota State. And I mean, nothing against North Dakota State. They produce Carson Wentz, but it's not as competitive, and he's not going to get as much weapons to throw to. Mac Jones definitely had it easier. He did. And now I think that Trey Lance is going to be more successful in the NFL, though. This is where Trey Lance is going to be taken. He is more talented, I think. He had an excellent, excellent showing towards the end of last season, and he definitely looks like a great prospect. He is athletic. He could throw the ball just like a lot of quarterbacks that we've seen in the last few years, very, very accurately. I think he looks a lot like Justin Herbert when he throws the ball. It's a quick release, it's accurate, and it doesn't really have too much arc to it. It's fast. I think that definitely he is going to be a quality quarterback in this league. So now we have the Dallas Cowboys. Here's the thing. Their offense has potential. Their offense, besides their offensive line, their offense is not that dissimilar from what we saw in 2016 when they were extremely successful with Dak Prescott, Zeke. That was just one of their best teams in a long, long time. Now, they have offensive potential, especially with the ever improving receiving core. They have Amari Cooper, Gallup, CD. That is a stacked receiving core. I don't think they're going to focus on offense too much in this draft. Their number one need is secondary. Their secondary is just like pathetic. It's horrible. And they didn't have their leader on defense in Leighton Vander Esch, but I think they're definitely going to be looking at secondary players. Right here, Patrick Surtain, Patrick Surtain II, son of the great Miami Dolphins legend, Patrick Surtain. He went to Alabama. I saw him play in the previous year in his bowl game against Michigan in person. He is a fantastic prospect. He's going to be excellent in the NFL. They're going to take him. Patrick Surtain will be a Dallas Cowboy. Our next one, the New York Giants. I've heard a lot about them possibly taking a running back. I'm tired of hearing that because there is no possible way they would take a running back. One, running backs don't go this early. That doesn't really happen that often. I know, like, they did a few years ago. They took a gamble on Saquon, and he has been incredible for them when he's not hurt. He has been hurt, but he is going to be a stud this year. Battling back from injury, I think he's going to have a bounce back year and be a comeback player of the year candidate just because he went from missing this entire season off of a week 1 ACL tear to next year. I think he's going to have an incredible career year that's going to be kind of ranked with his rookie season when he was absolutely incredible. They're not going to take a running back. Okay. So that's the first round. The Giants taking a running back in the first round. That's not going to happen. I've heard that way too much. It's been all over my Instagram feed. It's very, very, it doesn't make any sense. So they're definitely, well, they need a better defensive line. That's obvious. But I think that their main need is secondary. Again, J.C. Horn is definitely the best secondary available right now. He is an amazing corner. He was fast. He's athletic. And he's definitely the guy that they're looking for. They're going to take him and they're going to add him to that secondary, kind of help out the defense a lot more, which is what they need to do. I don't think that Daniel Jones needs a weapon right now, because I think that he still has to prove himself, like without a super team around him. Saquon Barkley is gonna help him, but really their receiving core is understandably very, very weak. I think you got to give Daniel Jones a couple more years, maybe to just thrive, and then you'll start building up his receiving core, making him a little bit more confident. But right now, the receiving core is not the biggest need. That is definitely not the biggest need. J.C. Horn is going to go number 11. Number 12, the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, the Eagles are an absolute disaster. Their franchise is horrible. And I don't know how they won the Super Bowl a couple years ago, but I think they're going to go with a receiver. Now, receivers right now, I mean, they're kind of running slim. That's just because the top three have kind of gone off the board. So there was one receiver I saw earlier. It was this Rashad Bateman guy. Really, like, he's not projected to go that high. I think they're going to reach for him, though, and I think that's going to pan out for them. This is also a very, very unpopular pick. Okay. I know that I'm going to get a lot of heat for this in the comment section too, which is understandable because but I was watching him at Minnesota. I watched one of his games last year. Man, that guy is good. He can play. He is going to go to the Eagles. That's going to be their best selection in a long, long time. Now, we have the Chargers. Justin Herbert's a great quarterback that's established. Their receiving core is pretty good. They have Keenan Allen, who actually is an underrated receiver right now. But I think they're going to go with an offensive tackle, Rashawn Slater. Not much to be said there. I think that he definitely is the best offensive tackle left. I think he's definitely better than Darisaw. Would definitely take Slater at number 13. 14, we have the Vikings. Now, the Vikings are really a team that just struggles at the beginning and then kind of makes a playoff run at the end, but really they kind of fizzle out by at least the first round of the playoffs if they make the playoffs. Always an average team, you know? So I think that they're definitely going to be looking to kind of spice things up and they're going to get a skill position. A lot of people have been saying offensive line, offensive tackle. They're going to get a skill position because they really need a brand new fresh blood player in there. And now I only had Jefferson last year, which panned out well. He was the best receiver in the class. He turned out very, very well. The LSU alumni. I think he's going to go. This is a really complicated pick for me. Now I have like right in front of me. I have planned out all the picks that I think are going to happen, but really I left a question mark besides this one because there was a couple players I am still debating on. Now they're not going to take a QB. I know that that's what it says right there. They're not going to take a quarterback. I mean, Kirk is not a bad quarterback at all. I mean, they haven't had that much success, but that's because their defense is not great, specifically their secondary. So really, this is one that I was leaving as a game time decision. So do they take the edge rusher? I don't think they take an edge rusher either because there's a lot of options right now at edge rusher in this class. Like they have a couple guys from Miami. There's that guy from LSU that was supposed to be really, really good that I was looking for as a possible pick for the Bucks. I just don't think that they're going to take that. I think they need another just great player to complement Dalvin and Justin Jefferson on offense. I think they're going to go with a wide receiver. Now I know that this is not like a really stacked wide receiver class once you get past those first three guys. But there is here, let me find them. There was a guy I was looking at the other day that there's Elijah Moore guy out of Ole Miss. This is another reach. This is one that is definitely a reach at 14th overall. But Elijah Moore is definitely the prospect that they need to complement Justin Jefferson. Now, adding him would help tremendously because then they're not going to have to solely focus on Jefferson. They can definitely, I mean, losing Thielen's not a fast guy. He's not one that's going to be burning you deep that much just because he's not fast. But if they can add a really fast guy like Elijah Moore to beat them deep, then that receiving core jumps to a top maybe 5 receiving core in the league. They become a lethal offense with a running back Dalvin Cook and a probably very, very good Kirk Cousins, as I would assume, just because he is going to have an amazing offense if they do this. They're going to have to maybe pick some defensive guys in later rounds, but they're going to go with Elijah Moore here. I know that's a reach, but I think it's going to pan out for them. This is kind of a draft where I feel like the entire first round is lacking offense. Now, I know there's a couple teams that are going to pick defensively, but I just feel like this offensive class is very, very good, especially at quarterback. The Patriots. So hold on, let me take a drink real quick. Okay, so New England obviously they think Cam Newton's okay, I think, because they re-signed him, but I don't think that they're really happy with him, and I know that they don't think they can win with him, which I totally agree with. He is washed and he has not had a good season in about like 5 years. So I think that the best option here is going to be Mac Jones. And I know this is going to be an unpopular opinion just because a lot of people were thinking, oh, they're definitely going to take a receiver or a linebacker because they're both like, they need both of those things. No, quarterback is definitely their biggest need. When you think about it, is Cam Newton going to win them games? No, but if they add a quarterback and keep that receiving core, I think that definitely changes their tides. Maybe they can add some quarterback competition for a starting job, at least make Cam work a little bit harder and maybe get a little bit better, put some pressure on him. I don't know what the deal is, but I think there's definitely a lot of routes they could take once they select Mac Jones, whether he be a day one starter, he competes in training camp, or maybe they give him the role maybe like 5 weeks into the season, like we see pretty often with rookie quarterbacks. Mac Jones, I think, is going to be going to the New England Patriots. He definitely fits the Patriots way. He's a quarterback that I think is going to be here for a long time because he doesn't run that much. And that's exactly what Tom did. Didn't run that much. He's an accurate passer. He definitely will take some contact, though. He is a thicker guy. Like, he is definitely got some pounds to him. He's got some pounds to his name. He'll go to 15th overall. Next one, the Cardinals. They need a corner, and definitely there are some corners in this draft. Now, I saw this guy, Greg Newsome. Greg Newsome is definitely the best option for them. He is needed very, very badly, being a corner that is athletic and fast, which is really, I've said that about every corner, but I just feel like that's the modern cornerback, which they need desperately to complement Buda Baker back there. That'll help them so much. That'll improve the defense. The offense definitely has potential, so that's why I don't think they're going to go here. They're going to go that direction in the first round. They're going to take Greg Newsom. Now, next pick, Raiders. Now, the Raiders definitely have a struggling offensive line. They have a fair offense. I mean, it's not great, but they definitely would improve it a lot with the offensive lineman. Darisaw is going to the 17th to the Raiders. Next one, the Dolphins have this pick again, or a first round pick again. They already got a receiver in this class, as I predicted. They're going to get an edge guy, and they're going to pick Jalen Phillips. Phillips went to Miami. He's going to stay in Miami and play for the Dolphins. Next one, Washington. They're going to get an offensive tackle, Tevin Jenkins. I feel like there's not much debate about this one. I've seen him going, Tevin Jenkins going to Washington multiple times. They need an offensive lineman. He is definitely going to be available at this point. That would be my prediction. Oklahoma State alum. He'll go there. Next one, we have the Bears. Now, this is a very interesting situation. I'm not confident in either of their quarterbacks. I don't think they're good. I thought they would be showing like they would definitely, I thought, sign either Russell Wilson or Deshaun Watson following the season. Obviously, neither of those are options anymore, as Russell Wilson is elected to stay in Seattle, and obviously we know what's going on with Deshaun Watson. Doesn't look like he's going to be playing next year. So, quarterback, that's their first thing. I don't think they're going to be going after Trask because that's the next quarterback, really. Trask does not seem like their best option. Now, I mean, David Montgomery is a pretty good running back, but basically he has no offensive line to run behind. Do they pick offensive line? That's what I was thinking because if they pick, this is another one that I was really questioning about, just because they have multiple things that they definitely could address in this first round and maybe not as much in later rounds. Now, here's what I'm on the fence about, and I really want you guys to let me know in the comments what you think about it. They could pick Vera Tucker, the USC lineman. That is a big need that is going to be at the top of their list. But they can also use a tackle. And like I said, this is a stacked class of offensive tackles. Where'd he go? This guy. That's a reach. Okay. I understand that he is not like first round talent. But when we look at like reaches typically pan out, I feel like in the last few years, we've seen a couple of teams like really, really reach on a guy. They're not going to be available for their second round pick. They're not going to get him again. But I think that their interior offensive line is definitely going to be because maybe they want to trade in the late, like in the second round, maybe trade up to maybe get that offensive tackle. But I think they're going to go with the interior offensive line. Next one, the Colts. They also need to tackle, but really there's nothing on the board for them at this point. Receivers are also very, very high on the list. Now, I understand that their receiving core is actually not that bad. They drafted a receiver early last year. But I just don't think that they're going to be addressing that early. Corners are also something that they could use, but really they're at this point in the draft. I don't see many corners left on the board that would be very valuable for them. I think they're going to take like an edge rusher for sure, because if they can add some firepower to that already amazing defense, they're a top underrated defense. Being like, in my opinion, they're a top 3 defense in the league. I'm not going to lie. Just watching them, they make plays all the time. They're constantly pressuring the quarterback. The problem is they just need one more guy on that defense to force bad throws to constantly disrupt that quarterback and maybe make some huge plays. I'm not going to say his name, but this guy from Georgia, I was watching him a couple days ago. It's just I watched one of his games that was recorded. He's a huge disruption. He can play the run and he can play the pass, which is exactly what we need him or they need him to do. Not we, not a Colts fan. But that is what they need him for. And I think he's definitely going to be responsible for doing both those things. I think they're going to take the Georgia edge rusher. Not going to say his name. This one, I also saw that a lot of people have been saying they're going to take a tight end. I really don't think that outside of Kyle Pitts, it's worth drafting a tight end in this first round. I haven't seen too much talent there outside of Kyle Pitts, so I don't think they're going to be doing that. I think that definitely they're going to not go for a quarterback either, which I saw a couple times too, that in the later rounds they might draft a QB. Tannehill is satisfactory. They're going to keep Tannehill. I think that maybe he's like maybe 2-3 more years they'll have him here. Maybe they'll draft one in the next draft or in the next one after that. But I definitely am confident that they're going to be taking a safety, which is why on this paper, like on my prediction, what I was kind of thinking of before this game or before this video, I was thinking definitely they're taking a secondary player, and I think that's going to be Trevon Moehrig. He's definitely a great guy out of TCU. They'll really appreciate having him, I think, just because he is I mean, he's not like overly tall, which is something that really helps when you're a safety. But he makes plays, and he makes a lot of plays. When we saw him at TCU, I was just watching film on him the other day for like an hour, just because he gets around the field. He can read the quarterback's eyes, and he is definitely the top prospect right now for the Titans. So we're going to go ahead and pick him up for the Tennessee Titans. Next one, the Jets also have the 23rd overall pick. Realistically, when we think about it, the Jets need every position. They don't really have anything that's like super, super solid. You really can't think of a single position that they're not bad at. This is a large like spread of I mean, this is offense and defense. They don't have much depth or talent around here. They already drafted a quarterback. They're gonna need something else. And obviously with Lev Bell leaving last year, they're gonna need a running back. I think that this is going to be the first running back selected in this draft. Now the question is, do they take Etienne or Najee Harris? I think Najee Harris is the better player, and I think he's gonna be the one selected just because he looks so athletic and good in college. And Etienne, he was the same thing, but really, like, Najee Harris is the real deal. That guy can play, and you know that he's been putting in a ton of work prior to this draft. I like him a lot. He's going to go there. Now, the Steelers, they have had a really disappointing second half of last season. I think that's partially due to the horrible quarterback play of Ben Roethlisberger, which if I did do a second and third round mock draft, I think they would definitely address that. I think they're definitely going to take a quarterback sometime in this draft, but I think that they're going to be targeting in this one a linebacker. And I think because Micah Parsons is going to fall to them, they're going to think, okay, this is something that we can address now. He is definitely a quality player. We could use somebody exactly like him and to complement our already decent, like very, very good defense. But they have a pretty good front seven with like TJ Watt, Cam Hayward, Dupree. But he's going to definitely take them to the next level. The Penn State alum, they're going to add Micah Parsons. Now the Jags have another pick 25. James Robinson, I don't think they're going to replace him. I was actually very, very pleasantly surprised this season by his play. I liked him a lot. I thought he was like a very, very underrated guy that really gets overlooked because he's on the Jags, but he's a quality running back. I'm not gonna knock him at all. He's really good. But I think they're gonna take an edge rusher in this one. Now I know when we look at this team needs, that's a little bit further back, but trust me, they're not generating pressure at all. I've watched quite a few Jags games this previous year just because they usually seem to be playing at 4 o'clock when I've watched them instead of the usual 1 o'clock that the Bucks play at or a primetime game. So really, the Jags are on whenever my favorite team, the Bucks, are not on. So I've actually watched quite a few of their games, especially because I live in Florida. So they're going to be on a lot more than any other team besides a Florida team. They're going to take an edge rusher. They don't generate pressure. That's part of the reason why their defense doesn't get stops against any team. They don't generate pressure. They're going to be drafting against edge rusher out of Michigan. I think that's a pretty easy pick. Let me know what you think about that one in the comments too. I'm really interested in to see what you guys think about this one. Now, this is one where I really am confident that Christian Barmore is going to go here. Christian Barmore had a fantastic previous season. He just beats double teams all the time. He's an interior defensive lineman, which we don't see that much anymore. Actually, a lot of guys are playing right end, left end, or an outside linebacker. We don't see any strictly interior defensive linemen that much anymore. I know he's not versatile. He's a big guy. He's not going to be versatile like that. But he definitely can play he can definitely do his job in the middle. He can be a disruptor. He can stop the run, and he can definitely beat guys to disrupt the pass. Christian Barmore goes to the Cleveland Browns. Next one, we got the Ravens. And then we're ending in just a few picks the first round. This is where we're going to be getting these later guys in the first round. Unfortunately, my favorite team, the Bucks, have the last pick of the first round, but who knows? We definitely could get some great guys. Now, the Ravens have a couple of guys on the board that I think are definitely contenders for them. This is another one where I put a question mark by their name. There's a lot of great options here. I don't know which one they're going to select, but I definitely think there's a few that they could definitely go with. I just said definitely like 5 times. Sorry. Now there's a lot of really when we look at who's left, and it's all skill positions pretty much in my draft at least, where we have running back, linebacker, running back, like it's multiple guys like that. Now, I know that the running game, like I'm honestly not sold on the running game. I know that J.K. Dobbins is just a rookie. I didn't think he looked that good last year. I know Lamar can run the ball. Mark Ingram really was like a healthy scratch in a couple games too. He was not getting the same minutes and reps that he had in the previous year. Obviously, I don't think they're going to draft a running back, but I think that like if I'm the Ravens right now, I would be trying to sign someone to add to the running game because if they can have that 1-2 punch where it's really you hand it off to a dangerous running back or you hand it out or you keep it and like Lamar takes off, how are you going to stop that? There's no way to stop that, especially with the evolving passing threat of Lamar Jackson. I don't think that's going to happen though. They're not going to draft a running back. Now I mean, they have other issues to address, but if I'm them, I'm drafting running back. I think they're going to take a linebacker. Now, there's a couple guys. You either have the Notre Dame Jeremiah guy, Owusu, Forgot his name, and that's his last name, but that's not who I said I was going to pick anyway. Zaven Collins, Tulsa. He is a great guy, great athlete. I think they're definitely going to take him. That's going to strengthen up that already like decent defense a lot. Adding another solid linebacker. I know they drafted one in the previous year, but certainly he is going to help out a lot. They're definitely going to take Zaven Collins. I like him a lot for the Ravens. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. I've been talking for a while. Next one. Now, they are definitely going to be looking for a quarterback. If I'm the Saints, then I'm going to be looking for a quarterback. But I think they're not going to take a huge risk on a QB, and they might take one in like a later round. Obviously, with Drew Brees' retirement, they're going to be stuck with either Taysom Hill or Jameis Winston. Neither of them, I think, are very good options. I mean, Taysom Hill can't throw the ball. Jameis can throw a lot of picks. And as a Bucs fan, I've seen him play like over 100 games for us, or almost 100 games for us, and it's like horrible to watch. It's terrible. It's terrible. He's not good at all. But they're not going to address that in the first round. I don't think. I don't think that's going to be at the top of their priorities. I think they're definitely going to go with an edge rusher. Now, hear me out. There's a lot of good edge rushers in this draft, but I think this is one that they are going to select primarily. Now, Jason oh my gosh, I can't talk. Great guy out of Penn State. I think they're definitely going to select him just because he is another one of those versatile guys where he can play the outside linebacker too. We saw it a couple times at Penn State. He's athletic too. He can break up the passes and he's big. Most of all, he's big. He's going to be disruptive. Next one, Green Bay Packers. We dropped them off in the playoffs, but now they get to pick ahead of us. So running game is not bad. Aaron Jones, not that bad. Next one we have. I mean, obviously, I don't think they're going to go for a quarterback. I saw that a couple things. Like, are they going to draft maybe a quarterback? Like a couple times. Like, I don't think that's really necessary for them. I think they're going to take a linebacker. Javonte Williams, I think, is the best one remaining, and that's going to be their pick. Now, this is one where like I'm really on the fence about the Bills too, because the Bills obviously are going to be wanting to build up that defense even more than they already have. That was what made them so dominant. Although they were scoring a lot of points, their defense was fantastic, especially down the stretch when they started to find some success towards the end of the season and in the playoffs. That's how they beat the Colts, was absolutely locking up on defense. That's not their huge issue. Their running game is like okay, if you ask me. Zach Moss, I mean, a lot of people are high on Zach Moss right now. They think, oh, he's great, but I mean, I'm not totally convinced with him. Devin Singletary, I feel like the Bills don't like him that much because he doesn't get as much reps as he deserves. Like he really is kind of limited in how much reps they're giving him, and I feel like that's kind of disrespectful to him. But I think for the third straight year, they're taking a running back, and here's why: if they can get that dominant running back. Just think about this. I know that they have average running backs right now, or like running backs that are like a little bit above average, but really not absolutely like an Alvin Kamara, Dalvin Cook, Christian McCaffrey, Saquon. They're not like that. They're not on that level. But I think Etienne has the potential to be on that level. If they draft him and he gets on the level, that offense is unstoppable. Josh Allen being the dual threat that he is, the underrated dual threat that he is, with an like evolving receiving core, including Stephon Diggs. Their tight end game is okay with Austin Knox. Their offensive line actually is a little bit better than most people would think. Like they are have an underrated offensive line. Adding an insane running back that's also a receiving threat would change them so much. And I can't imagine how good they would be with him. I think they're going to take a running back for the third straight year. This is another one where you guys are going to get mad probably. I understand. That is not a popular opinion, but I think that's what's going to happen. Next one. This is like the second to last one. My voice is about to go. Chiefs. I think that there's not too much debate that they need an offensive line. We saw Mahomes running for his life. I think that if they don't pick an offensive line, Mahomes might leave. I'm just kidding. But he would definitely be very unhappy if they don't draft an offensive lineman. The last thing you want is your $50 million quarterback to be unhealthy. They're going to take Landon Dickerson. Offensive lineman, he'll be quality for them, and he is definitely a necessity. A quality offensive lineman. It'll be a shame if they don't draft a quality offensive lineman. Last one. Okay. The Bucks. Now the Bucks, obviously, I've seen us play. We need an interior defensive lineman. However, I have drafted very heavily on defensive linemen in this entire thing. I don't see that many left, and that is something that I stand behind. I think if this is going to be a draft loaded with edge rushers and interior defensive linemen, so they're going to go early. Really, our next one is going to be this is kind of debatable because I think that definitely our secondary is young and is still improving. A lot of people saying we're taking a safety. I don't think we're going to take a safety at all, and here's why. Winfield is excellent. Jordan Winfield. Not Jordan. Jordan Whitehead is excellent. Antoine Winfield is excellent. They both played very, very well, especially when we needed them to play well in the playoffs. I don't see either of them being like replaced at all anytime soon. It's like we won't sign anyone. We're not going to trade for anyone. We're not going to draft anyone. We're definitely, definitely not going to do anything with them. So we can scratch secondary off the board because we're definitely not taking a corner either. Now, we do need a receiver probably if we get rid of Antonio Brown. I'd like a third receiver would be nice. I know that like we have Scotty Miller and Tyler Johnson, but they're kind of like they're a toss up right now. I mean, Godwin and Mike Evans are both staying. Gronk is staying. So there's our three main like targets, but then we still need a wide receiver three. We didn't sign Fitzgerald, which I thought we possibly could, but we didn't. And also we did not go the direction of re-signing AB yet. At the time of recording this video, we have not re-signed AB. We're still waiting on his court case because if he does get imprisoned, then I guess we won't be using him then. So I don't think we're going to go receiver, though, because if we don't use him, then we have Tyler Johnson. I don't know if you guys saw, but Tyler Johnson came up clutch when we needed him. And that is absolutely something that we value is our ability to close out those games and really make the big plays when we need to make the big plays. He seemed to have a very good connection with Tom. Also, Scotty Miller, not that bad a slot receiver. He can definitely play the slot, and he definitely plays it better than Godwin. If we could put Godwin out, like as a wide out, then that would definitely help more than him playing the slot. So I don't think we're going to go receiver. That's enough talking about the Bucs receivers, but I don't think we're going to take a receiver. I mean, Tony would be the only one that we would possibly take, but I mean, I don't think that's going to happen. I think that there definitely is better options than receiver, and I think there are definitely better options than interior defensive lineman, simply because we don't have any available right now. So this is really a tough one for me because I have been debating this for a very, very long time, just thinking about what we possibly could do. I know that this is another very unpopular opinion. I think we're taking a corner. Now, hear me out. We really need to, I mean, our corners were excellent in the playoffs. Don't get me wrong, but we had a couple times where we had to bring in Ross Cockrell. And when we bring in Ross Cockrell, that is a huge issue because he is terrible. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, he's a veteran. If we can have that fourth corner, and I know it's a first round pick, but if we had one dominant corner, and I know Sean Murphy-Bunting was great in the playoffs. Jamel Dean really took shape, and also same for Carlton Davis. He's actually our best corner for sure. But if we can maybe get that cornerback four, or maybe bump one of our current ones out, possibly Jamel Dean, I think this would be huge. I think we're going to take Caleb Farley. Now I know this is also a very, very unpopular opinion. He's a good player. Don't get me wrong, he's a good player. Jamel Dean is, but I think this is going to help him out a lot. Now, I think that definitely there's a couple of guys I slept on, such as Jeremiah. He's tall. He was like the 22nd TDN rank. I just think that he's going to be early next round because simply none of the teams towards the end really are in desperate need of a linebacker, especially the way that I drafted, where a lot of the edge rushers in the defensive linemen were early. I think that's just the nature of this draft. So definitely, I'm going to say Caleb Farley is going to go to the Bucs, and that concludes the first round. So I'll give you guys this will show you right here who I ended up picking. So I'll just give you a quick scroll. So these are all user picks. These are all picks that I made. So yeah, go ahead and take a look right here, almost to the end. I know this has been a long video, so I hope you guys did in fact enjoy this. I was debating on making this video for a long time. I wanted to wait as long as possible just because like pro days and trades and like vacancies and positions for different teams. But I think this is basically the best list that I've compiled because I've made plenty of drafts. But I think overall, when I look at the drafts that I've made, this is kind of the best one. So I hope you guys did enjoy the video. That is going to do it for me. My voice is shot. I can't talk anymore. This is actually the third time I've recorded this video. Hopefully it goes up this time. As always, have a good day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Let's try to hit 200 subscribers. I know we're almost there, but see you guys later.